What's up everybody, this is Danny, and today let's compare the iPhone 13 Pro Max to the brand new iPhone 14 Pro Max. I'm going to give you a breakdown of what's different on these two, and of course I'm going to give you that camera comparison that you've all been waiting for to see if this new camera system is worth upgrading to, but first, the unboxing. It is the same unboxing experience across the entire iPhone 14 lineup, and as you know, it does not come with a charger. So pick up one of these GAN chargers from the channel sponsor Spigen to take advantage of the fastest charging speeds available. And even though the glass is strong on the iPhone 14s, that doesn't mean it can't get scratched. So trust me on this one, pick up the Spigen Glass TR Easy Fit with the tray that is included. This is the easiest installation ever. Anyone can do it. And I will show you some awesome cases that pair well with it in just a minute. If you look at these two phones, they look very similar. The size, the build quality, everything looks very familiar, which isn't a bad thing at all. You will notice that the camera cluster looks a little bigger, and we will definitely get into depth with that. But there are a few major differences with the iPhone 14 Pro Max that I need to mention that makes the experience different. First, let's jump right into it, and that is Dynamic Island. That is the cutout around the front-facing camera that I'm sure everyone has heard of. This is the defining feature of the iPhone 14 Pro series, in my opinion. I haven't had enough time with it to really dig in, but I do love how the animations look. Apps like music just expand to give you the control right from the redefined taskbar, and I feel as this evolves, this will be a great addition to multitasking on iPhones moving forward. I even appreciate the animations when your phone is in landscape mode, so this makes it feel like a different experience coming from the iPhone 13. Second is the brightness of the display. It's not that the iPhone 13 Pro Max didn't have a bright enough display, and indoors you might not even be able to tell a huge difference, but it's the outdoor brightness. There is a huge difference at 2000 nits. I know it's hard to see here, but trust me, it is so much brighter, so outdoor visibility now is a thing of the past with the iPhone 14 Pro Max. Third is the always-on display. The screen dims and shows you everything on your lock screen all the time. Apple's a little late to the party, but I'm glad it's there, and so far it is having some impact on battery life. It's not terrible. Just from a few days of use, I'm having about 10% battery life impact so far. I'm gonna wait until I use this phone for at least a week before I can give you battery numbers. The last thing I wanna mention are the new sensors in the iPhone 14 Pro Max for crash detection. If you're involved in a car crash, the new iPhone can automatically call emergency services for you, which is great. And you also get a new SOS emergency connectivity feature, where if you're in a place with no cellular service, you can point at the sky to connect to a satellite to send an emergency text, so I can see this saving a lot of lives. This is free for 2 years with the iPhone 14s, and after that, I'm not sure what's gonna happen, so I guess we'll have to find out when they announce it. Oh yeah, I guess we should talk about eSIM, right? In certain countries like the United States, there is no longer a SIM card tray anymore. You have to do things electronically, and for me, my experience, I had no problem. I was lucky. With T-Mobile, it was a super easy transfer. It took less than 1 minute, and I've heard a lot of people having some trouble with the eSIM stuff, so let me know if you've had trouble with it, but for me, I've had no problems. The iPhone 14 Pro Max, besides that, is a very familiar phone and experience. iOS 16 brings a ton of new features on both phones. I personally like the Pro Max series because of the extra battery life. Let me know if you are the same, even though the smaller Pro has the same cameras and features like the new A16 Bionic chip, which is faster and more efficient, but it's all about battery life and screen size for me. I will continue to use my iPhone 14 Pro Max and follow up with a long-term review. In my extensive testing, I'm loving the Spigen Optic Armor MagFit. The feel of this grippy texture is awesome, and protection is always A+ as usual with Spigen, but what I like is this. Just slide this over and protect the camera system while it's not in use, and if you know, dropping the phone on a hard surface and cracking or scratching that camera system is pure pain, so this is a great solution. And it also has full MagSafe compatibility, so accessories like this OMAG ring attach perfectly. This little thing can attach to any of these MagSafe cases, so you can get that perfect finger grip, and it also doubles as a kickstand. That is a double win. When I switch over to the smaller iPhone Pro for testing, then the Arc Hybrid Mag battery pack is going to come in handy. 5,000 milliamp hours of extra juice. This supports 7.5 watt wireless charging, which is the fastest the iPhone will support, and you can charge your friends' Android phones with 12 watt power delivery with USB-C. I'll leave a link down below for everything that I showed you today to make it easy to pick up, including this rugged Armor wallet that holds 2 cards. I love that you can just push from the bottom to get the cards out of here easily. I've been rocking with Spigen for a long time and they did not disappoint. These accessories are on point. So let's get to what you really want to know. Are the iPhone 14 Pro cameras actually worth the upgrade? Well, let's find out right now. What's up everybody, this is Danny, and today I want to test out, is the iPhone 14 Pro Max better at video than the iPhone 13 Pro Max? So you're looking at the front-facing video right now, 4K 30 frames per second, so I can tell there's already a difference in skin tone, so let me know which one looks better, which one sounds better, and then let's just test out all the video functions to see which one does best. Let's do it. As you might have guessed, the daytime photos look very similar. Both are fantastic with great detail and dynamic range. If I had to sum it up, generally, the older iPhone 13 Pro Max usually creates the brighter picture with a little more shadow bump, where the iPhone 14 Pro gives you more contrast. They both look very similar, so let me point out the differences with the new features so you can see if it's worth upgrading to or not. The first thing that I want to point out is detail, and it's not on every shot, but take a look at this picture. They both have very similar traits, but then when you zoom in, take a look at the detail here. Even though the 14 Pro Max's final output is 12 megapixels, the detail pickup difference is noticeable. This is also proven by the maximum digital zoom, both at 9x, and look at Tron, it is more defined from across the lake, so this is nice to see. Where you're really going to see the difference is when you switch to Pro RAW on the iPhone 14 Pro Max. This will give you a 48 megapixel image, and to show you, I'm going to crop in 1000% scale on the sand, and wow, look at the difference. There is less sharpening, which makes the image so much better to work with, and look at the sign on the back here. All of that detail is still retained, which is impressive. Here is another shot, both in Pro RAW, and what's awesome is Pro RAW looks just like this. These images are unedited, so it's ready to share with all of the benefits. Just look at that roof detail, less noise in the sky as well on the 14 Pro Max, so this image is excellent. If you're a fan of sharpness, then you might think that the iPhone 13 Pro Max looks better here, but if you're a fan of the most detail, then check out the Pro RAW. And the only downside to this are the files are quite large. Some of these images are over 100 megabytes each, so you're going to need some extra storage, and you can't take images as fast when you're in this mode. Second is the ability to do a 2x zoom without an extra lens. This is very familiar to what they've been doing with their entry-level phones, but this is different because you have that extra resolution on this year's sensor. I think it's nice that the portrait mode also works with the 2x. This gives you that extra flexibility on the iPhone 14 Pro Max. If you're worried about the quality, I wouldn't be. I think it looks great. And here is that 3x again on both. So let me know which one that you think looks better. This is like any other camera comparison though. Sometimes the iPhone 13 Pro Max does a better job. The brighter shadow detail and vibrancy give some scenarios a better ready to share photo like this one. Here the sky looks a little punchier and the shadow areas are a little more visible, and I can see people liking this more, and I don't blame you. And I found the minimum focusing distance to be a little better on the iPhone 13 Pro Max. Look at the meatballs here. More of the plate is in focus because of the sensor size. And there are times where I got the macro mode to look better on the iPhone 13 Pro Max, like here on this leaf. And at times the iPhone 13 Pro Max does a better job of prioritizing the harsher light to control clipping here, where the iPhone 14 Pro Max prioritizes brightening up the foreground and letting some of those highlights clip. But for the most part, you're getting a better image with the iPhone 14 Pro Max. It does go back and forth a lot, but I'm seeing improvements all over the place. Look at this ultra wide shot. My iPhone 13 Pro Max was notorious for blowing out the sky in ultra wide shots, but look at this one. The iPhone 14 Pro did a better job with dynamic range here. I do want to mention that the iPhone 14 Pro Max's primary camera is a little wider in angle, so you'll be able to fit more in the frame. This is from the same distance. Some people might like this or not like this, but me personally, I like it. There is a new front-facing camera this year, and it is better. This is what the iPhone absolutely needed. It has better detail and better skin tones. This one is drastic because of the lighting, but the colors and skin tones are still preserved on the iPhone 14 Pro Max. Look at this portrait mode shot too. The iPhone 13 Pro Max is picking up that green tone from the windows, and it doesn't look good at all, where the iPhone 14 Pro Max nails it. It does go back and forth like on this shot, but for the most part, you're going to love the improvements to the front-facing camera on the iPhone 14 series. When it comes to video, they both look fantastic. The best video available on a smartphone right now, and I don't think you'll be disappointed with either during the day. There is a second generation sensor shift stabilization in the iPhone 14s this year, so let me know if you can tell the difference in these walking shots, and I think they both look great. And here is the switch to the ultra wide angle if you want to see the difference here. The iPhone 14 Pro Max does look a little more stable here though, so let me know if I'm wrong. Again, they both look great. Couple of things that I don't want to forget: you can shoot cinematic video in 4K on the iPhone 14 series, where it's 1080p on the iPhone 13, so that's something to think about if you use this mode a lot. And there is a new action mode where you can get some insane results. I did an entire video on this, so if you want to watch more about it, I'll leave a link in the description. But if you shoot a lot of action, you will love this. It shoots in 2.8K resolution. So let's move to the low light, and here I feel like you're getting the same thing. It might not be a drastic improvement, but you're going to get a little more light as seen in the sky here without night mode. And with night mode, you're getting the same thing, a more refined image with less noise and better balance. Here is a darker scenario without night mode. You can see that the iPhone 14 Pro Max's larger sensor letting in more light, and then with night mode, you're getting a little extra color bump with more accuracy. So this is what you can expect at night. Pretty much every photo that I took is a little sharper and more detailed, like the statue. And if you look at this picture, you get a sense of what the bigger sensor is doing: deeper background separation, better contrast and definition in the background with much better noise reduction. So I'm liking what I'm seeing here with the night shots. I can't say all of the images are easy to tell when it comes to the differences, like in this shot. They're pretty much identical besides the better noise reduction. But if you're a big nighttime shooter, you are getting an upgrade. Look at the sharpness here. This fire hydrant is more detailed and just did a better job of defining that subject than the iPhone 13 Pro Max did. And in this portrait mode shot, the same. They both look similar from a distance, but when you crop in, man, what a difference. Look at this area here, it's night and day, so portrait mode at night is better. Here's an example of skin tones more balanced on the iPhone 14 Pro Max, where the 13 picked up a lot of red, so I'm happy with the improvements that I'm seeing. I can also see these improvements with the front-facing camera at night. Look at the sharpness on my face, and even the background, it is so much better. This area of the castle is super dark at Magic Kingdom, and here's a shot with the flash on without night mode. And then here's a shot with night mode, and the detail difference is definitely noticeable in my face and even the background. So selfie takers at night, you're going to get a pretty big bump up. So I know a lot of people will be happy about that. The ultra wide improvements are also noticeable. Here is a shot without night mode, and look at the noise control and detail difference between the two. This example here is a good one. I can see the difference immediately when you punch into the stairs and the wall. Look at the amount of detail picked up by the iPhone 14 Pro Max, so that photonic engine is working, I guess. Again, I don't want to give you the wrong idea that every photo is going to be as drastic, but it's the subtle things like how the light haloing is handled, and overall, it is just a cleaner nighttime experience. So if you upgrade, I think you'll be happy. If you don't like that digital look to your nighttime photos, then enable ProRAW again for that 48 megapixel capture at night. The detail differences aren't as drastic, so I wouldn't enable it for that, but I would use it for maybe capturing people. I like the more natural skin tone and balance that's on the RAW processing. And when you punch in, look at that image. There's no over sharpening, great colors, so that's nice. The colors here show you the difference. The red is more natural with the raw 48 megapixel capture, so this is a great choice at night if you want the more natural approach. When it comes to video, I'm not sure if my mind is playing tricks on me here, but there might be a slight improvement to the lens flaring. It is definitely still there, don't get me wrong, but it does look smaller to me, so let me know what you think in the comments below. The iPhone is still the best at nighttime video, so I'm surprised that when comparing the two, it's showing an improvement at night, so I'm happy to report that you'll get better nighttime video. You know I love testing low light with fireworks, and thumbs up for waiting almost 2 hours in the rain to record this footage. I almost gave up, but I'm going to let this play while I'm giving you my conclusion. The footage overall is cleaner on the iPhone 14 Pro Max. You can see an improvement in dynamic range as well when the fireworks are going off. So here is my take on the iPhone 14 Pro Max camera this year. If you are happy with your iPhone 13 Pro Max, then keep it for another year, so I think you'll be fine with that. But all of these improvements like 48 megapixel RAW, 4K cinematic mode, action mode stabilization, the improved front-facing camera, the better low-light performance, and video, I think it's a no-brainer upgrade for any iPhone below the 13 series. That about does it. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, guys. I promise the S22 Ultra comparison is coming up next, and I will see you for that one. Have a great day.